The Great Hall of Judgment was silent. It was a massive chamber floating above the capital world of the Galactic Empire. Tall black pillars reached toward a ceiling filled with cold white lights. Alien nobles, admirals, and officials filled the curved seats, watching from above like distant gods. At the center of the hall stood 5 humans. They were women. Each one wore a torn human military uniform. Their hands were locked behind their backs with glowing energy restraints. Heavy gravity fields pressed against their bodies, forcing them to stand still. Yet none of them bowed. General Amara Cole stood first. Her silver hair was tied back. Blood dried on her cheek, but her eyes were steady. Beside her was General Lin Zhao, smaller in size, calm in face, her dark eyes sharp and focused. General Sophia Reyes stood tall, shoulders straight, even with pain clear in her breathing. Next was General Neela Okoye, her jaw tight, gaze filled with quiet fire. The last was General Irina Volkov, expression cold, unreadable, like steel. These 5 women were the greatest human generals. They had led fleets. They had broken sieges. They had stopped the Empire more times than anyone could count. That was why they were here. An imperial judge floated forward on a hovering platform. Its long body shimmered with gold armor. Its voice echoed through the hall. "Generals of humanity," it said, "you stand accused of rebellion against the Galactic Empire. You refused to kneel. You refused to obey. You refused to accept your place." The judge paused. "For this," it continued, "you will be executed." The Empire had made this public. Every major world in the galaxy was watching. The execution was being broadcast live. This was meant to be a lesson, a warning. Kill the leaders, break the species. The judge turned to the first general. "Amara Cole, final words." General Cole lifted her head slowly. She looked not at the judge, but at the cameras. Her voice was quiet, but clear. "Humans do not kneel," she said. "We stand, even at the end." The judge moved on. "Lin Zhao, final words." Lin took a slow breath. "You fear us," she said calmly. "That is why you must kill us." Murmurs spread through the hall. "Sophia Reyes." Sophia smiled faintly, even as pain shook her body. "Tell the galaxy this," she said. "You did not defeat us. You proved us right." The judge's tone sharpened. "Neela Okoye." Neela looked straight into the air, as if she could see Earth itself. "We are not the end," she said. "We are the beginning." The crowd grew uneasy. "Irina Volkov." Irina was silent for a moment. Then she spoke one sentence. "Humanity will remember." The judge gave no reply. It raised one arm. Above the 5 generals, 5 execution devices powered up. Rings of blue-white energy formed in the air. The sound was sharp and loud, like screaming metal. Across human space, millions watched. On Earth, people froze in streets, homes, and ships. In military bases, soldiers stood still. In hospitals, doctors stopped moving. Parents held children close. No one spoke. The Empire believed fear would follow. The energy rings dropped. Light filled the screen. The execution lasted less than 3 seconds. When the light faded, the 5 humans were gone. The judge turned to the crowd. "Let this be known," it announced. "This is the fate of those who defy the Empire." The broadcast ended. The Empire celebrated. On alien worlds, officials praised the decision. Analysts spoke confidently. Commentators declared humanity broken. They said humans would surrender now. They said resistance was finished. But something strange happened. Human space went silent. No angry messages, no threats, no speeches. Human leaders did not respond. Military channels went dark. Civilian networks stopped broadcasting. Even social systems went quiet. To the galaxy, it looked like shock. To the Empire, it looked like victory. But deep inside human territory, something else was happening. In an old command vault buried beneath Earth's surface, a dormant system came online for the first time in decades. Red warning lights flickered. 5 locked files opened at once. Each file carried the name of one executed general. A cold, mechanical voice echoed through the chamber. "Fury Protocol confirmed." Across human space, long-forgotten shipyards unlocked their doors. Ancient warships, sealed and hidden, powered up. Retired admirals received coded messages they never expected to see again. Weapons banned by old treaties were quietly removed from storage. Humanity was not mourning. Humanity was preparing. Far away, on the imperial capital world, the Galactic Empire looked at the silent stars and felt satisfied. They believed they had crushed the human spirit. They did not know that silence, for humans, was not weakness. It was focus. And as the galaxy slept, humanity remembered every face, every word, every death. And they began to plan how the Empire would pay. The galaxy waited for humanity to scream. After the execution of the 5 generals, most alien species expected rage. They expected threats, fleets, or at least desperate cries for justice. None came. Hours passed, then days. Human space remained quiet. No ships crossed borders. No signals broke the silence. Even trade routes controlled by humans shut down without warning. To the Galactic Empire, this silence looked like shock. To others, it felt wrong. Very wrong. On the imperial capital world, analysts gathered inside the War Intelligence Tower. Large floating screens showed star maps and data streams. Human systems were marked in blue. Most of those lights were gone. An imperial strategist spoke with confidence. "They are grieving. Humans are emotional creatures. Their leaders are dead. This silence will pass." But another analyst shifted uncomfortably. "There is a pattern," she said. "Human history shows this behavior before major wars." The room grew tense. The Empire dismissed the concern. They had killed 5 generals. Humanity would break. Instead, human embassies across the galaxy closed without explanation. Human diplomats left alien worlds quietly. No arguments, no protests, just empty buildings. On neutral planets, traders noticed something strange. Human cargo ships stopped arriving. Markets felt the absence immediately. Human technology, spare parts, and medicine became rare within days. Humanity was pulling inward. Far from imperial eyes, deep within human-controlled space, old doors opened. On the moon of a forgotten system, an abandoned shipyard received a simple coded signal. "Awaken." The lights came on. Massive docks, untouched for years, powered up. Automated arms began repairing ships that were never meant to be seen again. Their hulls were dark and scarred, designed for function, not beauty. These were not peacetime vessels. Elsewhere, in a remote asteroid base, an old human admiral stood alone in his quarters. His hair was white. His uniform hung unused for years. A message flashed on his private terminal. One word. "Return." He closed his eyes. He had hoped he would never see that message again. Across Earth, similar messages arrived. Retired commanders, strategic planners, intelligence leaders long thought irrelevant. All recalled. None refused. In a sealed underground chamber beneath Earth's capital, 5 empty chairs sat around a circular table. Each chair bore a name: Amara Cole, Lin Zhao, Sophia Reyes, Neela Okoye, Irina Volkov. The chamber's central screen activated. A recorded message played. General Cole appeared first. The recording was calm, deliberate. "If you are seeing this," she said, "then we are gone." She paused. Our deaths were expected. One by one, the other generals appeared in recorded segments. They had planned for this. Each general had designed a response system. Not a single plan, but 5 overlapping ones. Economic pressure, strategic collapse, psychological warfare, defensive traps, final escalation. Together, they formed one system, the Fury Protocol. Human leadership did not argue. They followed the plan. In Imperial territory, strange problems began to appear. Supply fleets arrived late, or not at all. Navigation systems showed minor errors that grew worse each day. Energy shortages appeared on border worlds. Nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, but enough to cause stress. The Empire dismissed it as coincidence. Then an Imperial patrol ship vanished near a human border. No wreckage, no distress signal, just gone. Days later, another ship vanished. Then a convoy. Imperial admirals demanded answers. Scans showed nothing. Human space remained silent. That silence began to spread fear. In alien councils across the galaxy, debates erupted. "Why are humans not reacting?" one leader asked. "Because they are planning," another replied. Rumors spread fast. Some said humans were divided. Others said they were building something terrible. Old stories about human wars resurfaced. Ancient battles where humans had fought against impossible odds and won. The phrase began appearing in reports. Pre-war human silence. On an outer Imperial colony, a civilian watched the stars from a balcony. For the first time in years, human ships were not passing through the system. The stars felt empty and dangerous. Back on the Imperial capital, the same judge who ordered the execution watched a private intelligence feed. His confidence was gone. "What are the humans doing?" he demanded. No one answered. At that exact moment, deep in human space, a massive structure shifted. A hidden fleet, dormant and invisible, powered up. No speeches were given, no banners raised. Only coordinates were shared. Targets selected. Each target linked to a weakness the executed generals had discovered years ago. The silence was ending, but the galaxy would not hear it until it was too late. Far from the Empire's sight, a human fleet commander stood on a bridge lit in red. He looked at a simple image displayed on the main screen. 5 names, 5 faces. He spoke softly. "For the fallen." The fleet moved, and across the stars, the Galactic Empire unknowingly took its last peaceful breath. The first strike did not come with a warning. No declaration of war echoed across the stars. No human message reached the Galactic Empire. There were no speeches, no flags, no proud broadcasts. There was only disappearance. On the edge of Imperial space, an Empire listening station suddenly went silent. It had watched dozens of star systems, tracking trade, fleets, and civilian traffic. One moment it was there, the next, it was gone. Imperial Command assumed equipment failure. A repair ship was sent. The repair ship never returned. In a nearby system, an Imperial convoy entered hyperspace and failed to exit. Its transponder signal cut off mid-jump. The Empire searched for wreckage and found nothing. Panic spread quietly. Human space remained closed. No human ship appeared. No signal could be traced back to Earth or any human colony. It was as if humans were attacking from shadows. Inside an Imperial Fleet Command Center, admirals argued loudly. "This is impossible," one shouted. "Humans do not have this technology." Another replied in a low voice, "Or they never showed it to us." Far away, deep in human territory, a human strike fleet moved in total silence. Its ships were black, shaped like blades instead of cruisers. Their engines burned cold, nearly invisible to scanners. On the bridge of the lead ship, Commander Elias Ward watched the stars. He had served under General Sophia Reyes. Her voice echoed in his memory. "Do not rush," she had once told him. "Hunters wait." The fleet reached its first target, an Imperial shipyard orbiting a gas giant. It built warships for the Empire's outer fleets. Hundreds of workers lived on rotating stations nearby. Ward gave a single command. "Disable. Do not destroy." Human ships fired precision beams, not explosive weapons, cutting ones. Power cores shut down. Docking arms froze. Defense platforms went dark. Imperial ships were left floating, powerless. No alarms reached the Empire. By the time they realized the shipyard was gone, the human fleet had already vanished. Across Imperial space, similar events unfolded. Communication relays failed. Supply depots shut down. Fuel reserves ignited from inside, controlled and exact. Humans were not attacking cities. They were cutting arteries. Imperial logistics collapsed. Admirals demanded retaliation, but they could not find targets. Every human strike left no trace. Captured Imperial soldiers began to speak. They said humans did not shout. They did not insult. They did not celebrate. They spoke only when necessary, and when they did, they spoke names. Each attack carried a marker. A symbol. 5 marks began appearing in destroyed systems. Each mark represented one executed general. Alien analysts finally understood. The humans were not fighting as a single force. They were fighting as 5 minds. General Cole's strategy focused on speed and confusion. General Zhao's on misdirection and traps. General Reyes on precision strikes. General Okoye's on economic collapse. General Volkov's on psychological fear. Together, they formed something unstoppable. On an Imperial frontier world, a planetary governor watched his screens as trade vanished overnight. Food shipments failed, energy systems flickered, panic erupted among civilians. He sent a desperate message to the capital. "We are being dismantled," he wrote, "system by system." The Empire finally responded. A massive fleet was ordered to human space. Thousands of warships formed up, ready to crush the humans once and for all. But when the fleet entered the border region, nothing happened. No resistance, no response, just empty space. Then the trap closed. Human stealth fields dropped. Human ships appeared everywhere, from behind moons, from inside asteroid fields, from within the fleet formation itself. Human weapons fired with terrifying accuracy. Imperial ships lost engines, weapons, and command systems in seconds. Not destroyed, disabled, drifting. The Imperial fleet panicked. Admirals screamed orders that could not be followed. The humans spoke for the first time. A single message broadcast on all channels. "This is not war," the human voice said. "This is consequence." Then the humans vanished again. The Imperial fleet was left broken, stranded far from help. Across the galaxy, the truth spread fast. Humans were not raging. They were hunting. Neutral worlds began to fear the Empire more than humanity. Some alien governments quietly withdrew support from imperial control. Others began secret talks with human diplomats, only to find none available. Humanity was not negotiating. They were finishing a lesson. On Earth, in the underground command chamber, the 5 empty chairs remained untouched. A human official looked at the live reports and spoke softly. "They are following the plan perfectly." Another replied, "They always do." Far across the stars, Imperial citizens began to question their leaders. "Why can't we stop them?" No answer came. Because the truth was simple. The Galactic Empire had believed humans were loud, emotional, and reckless. They were wrong. Humans were patient, and patient hunters always strike last. The Galactic Empire had never been afraid of anyone. For centuries, it ruled through force, fear, and numbers. Entire species bent the knee when imperial fleets appeared in their skies. Resistance always ended the same way. This time, it was different. Imperial space was unraveling, not in fire, not in chaos, but in silence and control. Supply chains were broken beyond repair. Shipyards floated empty. Fleets existed only on paper. Worlds that once fed the Empire now waited in darkness for shipments that never came. The Empire called emergency councils every day. Inside the Grand War Chamber, senior admirals argued openly. Their voices echoed off cold metal walls. "We must strike Earth directly," one shouted. "With what fleet?" another snapped back. "Half our ships cannot move." An intelligence officer stepped forward, her voice shaking. "Human forces are everywhere and nowhere. We cannot predict them." That word, cannot, was dangerous in the Empire. The High Chancellor listened in silence. His many eyes scanned the room. "For the first time," he said slowly, "the Empire will speak." A message was prepared, carefully written, softly worded. It was sent across all known human frequencies. "Humanity," it said, "the Galactic Empire regrets the recent actions taken by its court. We invite dialogue. Let us restore balance." The message echoed into human space and met nothing. No reply, no acknowledgement. The silence continued. The Empire sent another message. This time, it included offers, restored territories, economic compensation, political representation. Still nothing. Imperial diplomats grew desperate. Behind closed doors, fear replaced pride. "What if they never stop?" one official whispered. On the outer imperial worlds, panic spread among civilians. Food shortages worsened. Power systems failed. Crime rose. People blamed the Empire. For the first time, citizens protested imperial rule. The Empire tried to hide the truth, but rumors traveled faster than official lies. They killed human leaders, people said, and humans answered. On a neutral station near human territory, an alien council gathered in secret. Representatives from many species attended. "They are not attacking civilians," one leader observed. "They are dismantling power," another replied. A third spoke quietly. "They are teaching a lesson." That lesson reached the imperial capital when the unthinkable happened. The Imperial Defense Grid, an ancient system protecting the homeworld, went offline for exactly 30 seconds. No attack followed, no ships appeared. Then the grid came back online, perfectly intact. The message was clear. "We can reach you. Any time." Panic erupted inside the imperial government. Emergency evacuation plans were discussed and abandoned. There was nowhere safe to go. Finally, the Empire did what it had never done before. It begged. A delegation of Imperial envoys was sent under white truce banners toward human space. They carried official apologies, signed by the High Chancellor himself. The delegation crossed the border and was stopped. Not by weapons, by a single human ship, small, old, unarmed. The human captain opened a channel. "This delegation is denied," he said calmly. The led envoy stammered. "We come in peace. We bring regret." The human captain did not raise his voice. Regret came too late. The channel closed. The delegation was escorted back without harm. The Empire understood. Humanity was not interested in words. Meanwhile, human operations continued with cold precision. Entire imperial ministries lost access to data. Financial systems collapsed overnight. Artificial intelligences loyal to the Empire shut themselves down after receiving human logic loops they could not escape. The Empire was bleeding without seeing the knife. On Earth, the Global Human Council met in silence. No cheering, no celebration. A single question was asked. "Do we stop?" The answer was unanimous. No, because the executions were not an accident. They were a choice. In the underground chamber, the 5 empty chairs still waited. A junior officer looked at the names engraved into the floor. "They knew this would happen," he said quietly. "Yes," an older commander replied, "and they accepted it." Across the galaxy, alien worlds began to make their own choices. Some declared independence from the Empire. Others cut military ties. A few sent quiet messages to human space, not asking for help, asking for forgiveness. The Galactic Empire had lost something more important than ships. It had lost authority. Fear no longer protected it. Respect no longer surrounded it. Only consequence remained. On the Imperial capital world, the High Chancellor stared at a star map filled with collapsing systems. He whispered a truth he had never believed. We should never have touched them. Far beyond his sight, a human fleet moved again. This time toward the core, toward the heart of the Empire, and for the first time in history the Galactic Empire waited, not with confidence, but with fear. The galaxy believed the 5 human generals were victims. That belief was wrong. Deep beneath Earth's surface, the underground chamber opened fully for the first time since the executions. Lights slowly brightened. The 5 empty chairs no longer felt empty. They felt alive. A human council member stood before the central screen. His voice was calm but heavy. "Begin final archive release." The screen changed. A recorded message appeared. General Amara Cole looked directly into the camera. She was younger in the recording, her uniform clean, her posture strong. "If you are watching this," she said, "then the Empire chose execution." She paused. "That means Phase 5 has begun." Across human space, the same message unlocked. Civilians, soldiers, and leaders were allowed to see what had been hidden. The truth. Years earlier, the 5 generals had predicted this outcome. The Galactic Empire had grown too afraid of human independence. Sooner or later, it would try to break humanity by removing its leaders. The generals planned for it. Not an escape, not a rescue. A sacrifice. General Lin Zhao appeared next. "We learned something about the Empire," she said. "They believe killing leaders ends resistance. That belief is their weakness." Her plan focused on information warfare. Every imperial system she studied had secret flaws, ignored because the Empire believed itself untouchable. General Sophia Reyes followed. "Wars are not won by destruction alone," she said softly. "They are won by control." She had mapped the Empire's logistics years in advance. Every fuel route, every supply hub, every dependency. General Naila Okoye spoke next. They will not listen to pain, she said. They will listen to loss. Her strategy targeted imperial economy and public trust. Collapse the markets, starve the war machine, let citizens question their rulers. Finally, General Irina Volkov appeared. She did not smile. They fear chaos, she said. So we will give them certainty. Her plan was psychological. Precision fear, controlled silence. Let the Empire imagine threats worse than reality. The 5 plans were not meant to work alone. They were designed to activate together, only through execution. The generals knew the Empire would broadcast their deaths. They knew the galaxy would watch. They knew humanity would feel pain, and they trusted humanity to turn that pain into focus. On Earth, people cried as they watched, not from sadness alone, from understanding. The generals had chosen death so humanity could win without becoming monsters. Statues began to rise on human worlds, not of warriors holding weapons, but of leaders standing calm and unbroken. Alien worlds watched the recordings in shock. The Empire had not killed leaders. It had triggered a weapon made of loyalty and trust. Inside the Galactic Empire, panic deepened. Imperial citizens finally learned the full truth. Independent journalists exposed the executions, the lies, the failures. Protests erupted on core worlds. Military officers resigned. Entire fleets refused orders. The Empire tried to regain control through force. It failed. Human fleets now moved openly, but slowly. No rush, no anger. They did not bombard planets. They surrounded them. Imperial governors received the same message everywhere. You are free to leave. You are free to stand down. You are not free to continue. Many surrendered. Those who resisted found their systems disabled within hours. The Empire was not falling in flames. It was falling apart. In a quiet moment aboard a human command ship, Commander Elias Ward stood alone. He looked at a small hologram of General Reyes. She trusted us, he whispered, and humanity had not failed her. Across the galaxy, alien species began to change how they spoke about humans, not as death-worlders, not as savages, but as a people who felt deeply and controlled that feeling with discipline. In the imperial capital, the High Chancellor stood before an empty hall. Most officials had fled. Others had defected. He watched the final human message arrive. Not a threat, not a demand, a statement. The Galactic Empire ends today, not by our hand, but by its own choices. The Chancellor sank into his throne. The Empire had believed strength came from fear. Humanity had proven otherwise. Far away in the underground chamber, the 5 empty chairs were finally filled, not by people, by light. Each chair glowed softly, as if acknowledging the end of its purpose. A young human officer stood and saluted. For humanity, he said. For the first time since the executions, human space allowed itself to breathe. The war was nearly over, but the lesson was not. And the galaxy would never forget what happened when the Galactic Empire executed 5 human female generals. And humanity answered with absolute fury. The Galactic Empire did not fall in a single day. It collapsed slowly, quietly, and completely. Without fleets, without trust, and without fear to protect it, the Empire became an empty shell. Its borders still existed on star maps, but its power was gone. Human fleets reached the Imperial core worlds. They did not fire. They did not threaten. They simply arrived. For the first time in history, Imperial citizens saw human ships in their skies, not as conquerors, but as witnesses. On the capital world, the High Chancellor stood before a shattered government. The council seats were empty. Screens showed worlds declaring independence one after another. He knew it was over. A final human delegation arrived, not generals, not admirals, teachers, engineers, diplomats. They walked through imperial halls without armor. The chancellor stared at them in disbelief. "You won," he said. "Why do you not take everything?" The lead human delegate answered calmly. "We did not come to rule you. We came to end what you became." The Galactic Empire officially surrendered that day. No parade followed. No celebration echoed across human worlds. Instead, humanity did something unexpected. They dismantled the empire. System by system, oppressive structures were removed. Power was returned to local worlds. Trade routes reopened under neutral control. Former imperial species were given choice for the first time in centuries. The galaxy watched in shock. Humans could have taken control. They chose restraint. An interstellar council was formed. Not ruled by humanity, but protected by it. One law stood above all others, written into galactic history. Never force humanity to kneel. On Earth, the 5 generals were honored together for the first time. Millions gathered across the planet. The sky above the memorial glowed with soft light. Their names were spoken aloud, not as victims, but as guardians. A young child asked her mother, "Why did they die?" The mother answered softly, "So others would not have to." Across alien worlds, historians rewrote their records. They stopped calling humans Deathworlders. They stopped calling them reckless. A new phrase appeared instead: measured fury. The understanding spread quickly. Humans did not seek war. Humans did not enjoy destruction. But when pushed beyond reason, when justice was denied, humans did not forget. They planned. Years later, an alien historian stood before a classroom of mixed species. Behind him, a star map showed old imperial space. He spoke carefully. "The Galactic Empire believed strength came from fear. Humans taught us something else." A student asked, "What did they teach?" The historian replied, "That true power is knowing when not to destroy." He paused, "and knowing exactly when to act." Far from Earth, Commander Elias Ward retired from service. On his final day, he visited the underground chamber where the Fury Protocol had begun. The 5 chairs remained, no longer glowing, at rest. He saluted once more. "You trusted us," he said quietly. "We did not fail." Humanity moved forward, not as rulers, not as gods, but as a reminder. The galaxy remembered the lesson clearly. If you threaten humanity, they will speak. If you harm humanity, they will respond. And if you execute what they love, they will answer with absolute fury, not loud, not wild, but final.